Welcome back, and on today's video we are going to look at making this granny square. To create this granny square we are going to need a 4mm crochet hook, a bent tip tapestry needle, a pair of scissors and some yarn. In this case I'm using 3 different kinds, one of which I don't actually know what it is. It's this browny greeny colour. I can't remember which brand this is. And then we've got 2 others. We've got this lemon and this green, which I think is called sage, and that's both from Stylecraft DK. So we're going to go straight on to round one, and we're going to start with a magic circle. You can of course do a chain 4 and then join that together with a slip stitch and then crochet into that circle. I'm going to be putting in 12 single crochets. Now after I've done the first 2, I'm going to go back and I'm going to pop in a stitch marker into the very first one. I just find it helps me find that first stitch when I'm coming back round. It's the only time I'm going to use it. It's just a little aid to help me remember where that one is. So I'm going to carry on doing my single crochets in the circle. I need a total of 12. Okay, so I'm just pulling my tail end, which will close up that circle a bit, and then I'm going to find that very first stitch, helpfully saved and protected by using that little stitch mark there, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch. And then we're going to move on to round 2. Now for round 2 we're going to start by chaining 3. We're going to do 1 half double crochet and a chain 1, and we're going to do that all the way around. So it's 1 half double crochet, a chain 1, 1 half double crochet, a chain 1, and we're going to do that in every stitch around, so you will end up with 12 half double crochets. Well, I should say 11 half double crochets and a chain 3. So I'm just double checking my stitch count, just make sure I've got the right number. And I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch. Oh, I missed the chain 1, so I'm going to undo that, finish off that half double, do a chain 1, and then I'm going to join to the top of that with a chain with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to snip off that yarn, and then we're going to go round to the next round, which is row 3. So for row 3 we are going to start by chaining 4, and then we're going to start by chaining 4, and then we're going to do 2 double treble clusters stitch in this first space. Now I do actually do this wrong. I actually do a 3 treble crochet cluster, but you only really need to do 2. So your chain 4 would count as your first stitch, and then you only need to do 2 treble crochet clusters. Now to do a cluster stitch, what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over twice. We're then going to go into our space. We're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to draw through 2, and then we're going to stop. Then we're going to yarn over twice again. We're going to draw through 2, and then stop. Wrap around twice again, draw through 2, and then we're going to pull through all 4 at the same time. And that creates our cluster stitch. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do another 3 treble crochet cluster. Do you think by the end of this video I'll actually be able to say that correctly? I think this is the time to say that I've recorded this voiceover about 5 times now because I kept getting tongue-tied over a 3 treble crochet cluster. Now I would say try to remember to include the chain 2 in between each of these stitches. A couple of times I've made this and I've forgotten to include that bit. So after each cluster it's a chain 2. Okay, I'm just going to double check my stitch count, make sure I've got the right number of clusters. I do not, so I need to put one more in. So I'm just going to put in the final 3 treble crochet cluster into that last stitch. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first cluster. You will notice that it does want to fold up on itself. It's not a problem, that will sort itself out when we do the next round. So at this point I'm just going to snip off my yarn . Now to start row 4, we're going to actually start with a new colour. This is going to represent the grass. And we're going to start with a chain 3 in any of the spaces, doesn't matter which one. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets into that space. We're then going to move on to the next space, and we're going to just go straight in with another 3 double crochets. Then we're going to go straight into the next space with 2 double crochets, a treble crochet once I remove that knot. There we go. And we're going to put in one treble crochet, and then we're going to do chain 2, and then another treble crochet, and then a double crochet. So 2 double crochets. And that is our corner. So we've gone from a circle to a square. Now we're going to carry on with the next edge, and for this we're literally just going to go straight into that next space and do 3 double crochets. And we're actually going to put that in the next 2 spaces. And then in the next stitch, the next space, we're going to do a corner stitch, which is once again 2 double crochets, a treble crochet, a chain 2, a treble crochet, and 2 double crochets. So moving on, we're going to go into our next space, and we're just going to repeat this all the way around. So it's 3 double crochets in the next 2 spaces, then we're going to move on to our corner space, which is going to be 2 double crochets, a treble crochet, a chain 2, a treble crochet, and 2 double crochets. And then when we get to the end of that row, we will then join with a slip stitch. Okay, to start round 5, we're going to start by slip stitching across those stitches into the space. And then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets in that space. And then we're going to go straight into the next space, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. And then we're going to go into our corner space. In our corner space, we're going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So we're going to do 3 double crochets in each of the spaces. When we come to a corner, we're going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Now I'm also going to explain why I skipped the first 3 stitches. I did the slip stitch at the beginning. The reason why I did this was because I don't always like the look of a chain coming straight out of a join. so I do like just to go along to my first available space. So that's why I skipped the first 3. If you're happy with it coming straight out from that spot, you do you. We all crochet in our own little ways. So this is one of the first videos that I am filming for this crochet along. I haven't quite got a name for this blanket yet, but I'm thinking something on the lines of summer, spring, flowers, grass, I don't know, something like that. But I thought it would be a nice little crochet along with a new square every week for you to try out. I think in total there's probably going to be between 6 or 8 squares. I haven't completely decided yet. I'm still working on some of the designs. But I think once it all gets put together, it's going to look fantastic. I was also thinking about playing up with some of the colours as well. So for example, I've got a particular kind of green that I'm using at this moment, but I have got some other greens I could use as well for the grass. Grass isn't always the same colour, so could you actually change it up? How would that look? That might be something that gets answered later on. So I've made it all the way around, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. And then we've done that, we're going to fasten off. And our next clip will be how to weave in your ends. Okay, so we finished the square, now we're going to work on weaving in the ends. So for this, I'm just going to get myself a needle. I always use the same needles, they're bent tip tapestry needles. I got them from, I think, either Wool Warehouse or Love to Crochet or Love Knitting or Loved Crafts, I think it's called now. And a series of different size needles, and they've all got a little bit of a bent end just to help, just helps you get into the stitch. Now we're going to try some extreme close-ups, and we're going to just weave in our tail end by going back along some stitches that we've already created. Now to do this, I like to try to split the stitches so it gives something for the yarn to bite down on. So I've gone through a few stitches, then I'm going to come back on myself, and I'm just going to put a stitch in there so I've created a loop. I'm going to then put my yarn through that loop and then put it tight, and that's created a knot. Now I'm just going to go back on myself, again splitting some stitches, going underneath and over the top of some stitches, just weaving it in, and I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to pull it quite taut and quite tight, and then I'm going to snip it as close as I dare to get to the work, and then when you pull it out, the end has disappeared. Now I'm also going to show you how to do that again, but with an actual longer stitch. So I'm going to go over to this stitch here, which was my first stitch. Now this particular stitch is a bit loose, and I think it's a bit loose because I put too many stitches in there. There's a chain and then 3 other stitches when there should only be a chain and 2 other stitches. But just to tighten it up, I'm literally just going over that stitch, going in one end and then back out at the beginning again, just to tighten it up and make it look a bit more finished, to make it look a bit more like the other stitches. Then to weave in this end, I'm literally just going to go down a stitch or down a post of a stitch, and I'm just going to try and weave my stitch around that post, going through some stitches, going underneath some stitches, And then once I've done that, I'm going to find another little area just to put my needle in. I'm going to create another loop, and I'm going to put my needle in through there and pull the yarn through just to create a little knot, and then weaving my needle through some stitches, coming out the other end, and then again pulling it a little bit tight and snipping it off as close as I dare to go. And if you do that for the rest of your stitches, you end up with this little square. And there you have it. That's our sunflower square for the spring, summertime, flower, something, pattern, blanket. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you've got any questions, if I didn't explain anything clearly enough, let me know in the comments box below and I'll see if I can help you out. Until then, check out some other videos over on this side. Up here will be probably another crochet along, and then down here will be a how-to playlist, so you can learn how to do the stitches. After you've done that, why not click the bell and click on the subscribe button down there. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.